This is the EB5 Roamer by Jasion, and I gotta say, this is an amazing bike for only $839 at the time of this recording. Let's go over the specs, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is such a bargain. Not only did the performance just pretty much blow me away, it goes 28 miles an hour with throttle only if you want to. So it has a lot of great features that you're going to want out of a commuter bike, especially up to a 400-pound payload. Let's get started. Unboxing and assembling the Jasion bike was actually pretty easy to do, but I do recommend you take it to a bike shop to have it assembled. They do save a lot on shipping costs by having a lot of the parts not already pre-installed on the bike, so you will need to do quite a bit of assembly. I did also add flat out tire sealant to both the front and the rear tires to make sure I don't get any flats on my ride, but after that I tested the electricals, had everything tightened up, and I was pretty much ready to ride. So let's get started with the back of the bike here on during the specs, and I want to go ahead and point out something here. As you can see, we actually have an integrated rear tail light, and it also does double as a blinker system as well. So I'm going to reach to the front here and I'm going to turn on the blinker. As you can see, there's a left side blinker, and this is with the lights on right now. This is going to be a right side blinker, and then when I hit the brake at the same time, you also see a brake light at the same time. And if I turn off the headlights, then also the tail light goes out. And this is at right now at 5:45 in the afternoon on a sunny California summer day or spring day, that actually this tail light does work where you can see it. Now at night it'll be very visible, and it is just a very cool feature all in all to have on a bike like this. You do have your control system here, so I'm going to show that here. So you have your left blinker, your right blinker, your middle, and then this turns on the headlight on and off. And that's just as simple as it gets. You also have a horn on there as well. And let's step back here. As you can see, it also comes with these fenders. And you do have these 26 by 2.25 inch tires on the back here that actually have a PSI max rating of up to 45 PSI. So they can go pretty hard. Now I'm running them at about 40 PSI because I like them just a little bit softer, but they do a really great job, and they are also puncture resistant. But I did add flat out tire sealant also, just because the thorns in our area can pretty much go through almost any tire, so that would help any other issues that I have with possible punctures of things that are really sharp going through the tires. Now we also have a 7-speed Shimano shifter gearing back here, and also a tourney derailleur in this drivetrain back here as well. As you can see, it also has a chain guard all covering there, so in case this is a real commuter's bike, when you have something that's a chain guard this big, prevent your pants leg from getting caught going into the chain, getting stuck in there. This is a great chain guard that actually has to protect not only the chain itself but your clothing as you're riding along, also from any mud or grease getting onto your clothing. This rack here does come with it as well, so you can actually put great pannier bags on it. It's a pretty solid rack. I don't know the weight rating of it, but it will hold quite a bit. It also, what I really like is that they also think about putting bungee hooks mounting in this area right here, so this can actually have a mount place. So a lot of times you don't have a place to have your bungee wrap onto, so this is really great to also have here. Really well thought out. Nice, easy, full rear system here to go ahead and carry anything that you need to on the backside. And with a 400-pound max rating on the bike for pure payload, that means you can actually hold quite a bit of extra weight that this bike should be able to handle with it. They do say that it has an 1100 watt motor on the back here. That must be peak. It does have a very torquey start. So I really like that, because if you're at a stop and you're ready to go, you just hit that throttle. It's very responsive. There is a cadence sensor in the front here that has quite a big delay before it actually does kick in the motor. But if you're using the throttle first, which I normally do anyway, right from a stop, I'm actually hitting the throttle and then I start pedaling at the same time. By the time I let go of the throttle, the cadence sensor's kicked in and it'll just keep you going. So that is a very good altogether drivetrain that actually works with this here. You do have a kickstand in the back here that has a lot of clearance from the pedal, so you won't get any pedal strike. And as we look here, you also have a fender. Of course, when you are doing commuting, you want to make sure you have a fender that will keep you dry from any of the rain. And it is a full fender. It goes all the way down to the bottom as well here, plus pretty far out to this area right here. And if you look at the fender in the front, you also have a pretty long fender that comes down pretty low here to make sure that you're staying dry. Now, I personally like plastic fenders because there is absolutely no noise from these when you're going over bumps. If you listen, where metal fenders, not only do they weigh a little more, but they make a lot of noise. And these, you don't have to worry about any noise coming from your fenders. That's pretty solid. A lot of times you'll actually hear noise from the chains, but then again, smart, they actually use plastic. You don't need anything more than plastic fenders on this area here. I do like that they have also your derailleur guard back here, keep your derailleur from getting hit. And you have your basic pedals right here. They do a very good job keeping my feet put in place. You also have a 12 amp hour battery in here. They say it can go up to about 60 miles on a charge. And that seems about right for a battery this size, plus with the motor length that you have here. The ride that we did today, I did like a 3-mile straight uphill at one point, and when I got back down, the battery was still at half charge, even with a full like 17-mile round trip today. So, you know, being that I was all uphill at one point, I think that you're gonna get a pretty decent range on this as well. This seat here, it's a decent seat. I've felt some that were a lot worse. This is pretty soft, so I don't have any issues with this seat here. You know, it's not the most comfortable. If you want a wider saddle, you can get one of these, but for the ride that I did today, I had no issues with it at all. The bike is also not that heavy. I have the weight rating posted below. It is a very decent sized weight. We also have an integrated battery here with UL rated. Samsung sells as well. This is a UL rated battery, so you do get that safety as well. If you don't have the battery in the bike, you can actually hit this button here. If you see it's green, means it's right in between, so you know that you have some charge. If it's red, then you know it's low. If it's blue, then you know it's fully charged. So you don't have to have the battery plugged into the bike to go ahead and get a reading on that, but of course you can always do that as well. Going back here, you have, you know, it's a simple adjustable height here. You actually do have a height range on this bike of, I believe, as tall, they said 6'6", but I'm gonna have to say it's a 5'2" to 6'6". I don't know if someone 6'6" will be very comfortable. I mean, maybe 6'4". At 5'2", that should be okay, because at 5'3", I'm at 5'5", and as you can see, this is the height that I have it at 5'5". So there's a lot of length to go here to bring it down for someone who's 5'2" to be able to ride this. Not a problem at all. The step over might be, actually this step over would be fine for even somebody who's 5'2". It's not going to be too bad. So this is a good size bike for someone who might be on the shorter stature, but at 6'4", it says up to 6'6", that is a possibility. I'm not really sure how comfortable someone that tall might be, but it could work. You do also have your very simple controller up here in the front. So to turn on and off the bike here, basically you would just go ahead and hit this M button that's in the middle. You have your up and down in your M. By pushing the M, turns on the bike. Beautiful display. Now, the only reason why I didn't do it outside in the sun is because my camera's frame rate makes it look like it's flickering, but it does look completely clear while you are looking at this without any issues, even in the middle of the day or with the sun. The other thing I want to have you take note of is when you put actually polarized sunglasses, it does not get affected by the screen, where there are a lot of bikes that actually do get affected by my sunglasses where you wouldn't be able to see the screen at all. So just want to point that out as well, because some people might say, hey, I didn't realize that might happen. Okay, so you have your PS level 1. Every time I turn on the bike, it goes straight to 1. You can go up to 5 by just hitting your up. And at each level along the way, you actually get different speeds for your throttle. So for instance, at 1, gonna go, I think, about to 11 miles an hour. Yep. And when you hold the brake, by the way, if you notice that red light comes on top here, so keep your eye right here. If you hit that, the brake does indicate that the cutoffs are actually working. At level 2, you go up to, I think, 15 miles an hour. Yep. And at level 3, I believe it was at 20 or 19, 20. Yep. And then at 4, I believe it was 25. 24. 23 miles an hour. Okay. And then at, of course, level 5, I'm going to hold this here. And you get a full 27 and a half, 27.6, almost 28 miles an hour. And a full battery, it might actually go that way. But yeah, you get that just from your throttle alone there. So you have that ability to go that basically at fast just with throttle alone, which is really, really nice. Again, here's your switch that goes on your blinkers left and right. And then, of course, you're on and off for your, if you can see the headlight there in the front, turning it on and off just by hitting one button. It does that for you. So I really like this setup. And of course, the horn. And this is the full setup that you have here. And this is the display. This is strictly a commuter bike, gets you to and from one place to another very fast. You don't have to worry much about anything other than hitting your throttle or pedaling and just watching out for traffic. It is one of the reasons they kept this bike, I think, well, affordable, is because they only give you the essentials. In fact, they do give you a little bit more. A lot of bikes don't have blinker systems. A lot of bikes don't have a simple one and push, one and up and on. And then, you know, you have your headlight here in the front, which you can see is actually quite bright, even in the mid-afternoon sun. You have the ability to go ahead and also put a front rack if you want. That's what this is for. And you also have your front suspension here with 80 millimeters of travel. So that gives you a lot of cushion on your ride to keep it nice and soft. You have your preload here. So for those of you who want to stiffen it up, you can. And then you also, of course, have your lockouts here. So if you want to maximize your pedaling, then you can actually lock out the suspension and it'll stay stiff. These are standard mechanical disc brakes. So mechanical brakes here, standard handle. These are 160 millimeter rotors in the front. And these are actually, I've seen these brands before. They work just great. They're not going to be as sensitive as hydraulic brakes, but then again, this bike is fairly priced at only $839, like I said, and for the brakes that you have on here, they work absolutely fine. These actual skid marks that you see here was when I was doing my filming, and it has no problem locking up the tires front and back. In no time, you can stop very, very quickly, and that's what you want when you're going 28 miles an hour. If you need to hit it, you'll be able to stop pretty quickly. The other thing that it does have, if you notice, we have multiple cables coming out of the front handles here, because you do have your motor cutoffs as one of them, and then of course your brake cable coming out of this side. And this is the same for this side, motor cutoffs on both sides. Since we're here on the dash, I want to go ahead and show you, we do have our thumb throttle, and then your standard Shimano SIS shifter. Very easy to control up and down if you want to go between gearing. So if you're going to go, you know, you can do 3 or just a really fast shifting capability, of course, with thumb throttles as well. Easy to go ahead and hit that, hit your brake there. Now the EB5 Roamer does not come with bottle cage bosses, so there's no place to actually put a bottle cage. So I do have this water bottle holder here, which fits almost any e-bike, and we do sell this on the ebikeproducts.com website at ebikeproducts.com/shop. And that actually is a extra added accessory I would say that you might want to get, along as well as you can get some bar end mirrors here. That would be very helpful to be able to see behind you. But you do have a wide dash. This is a nice length or width of a handlebars, because it does actually give you a lot of stability. You will see that I was going over 30 miles an hour down a hill at one point, and there was no problem going at that speed. It's very, very stable. This here is a GPS remote that is actually hooked into the camera, so whenever you do see the overlay of speed, that is coming from this bike. This is actually taking GPS readings, feeding it to the camera. That's why you can see the different speeds there. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quickly how to take the battery out. It's a super simple process. They call it like a quick release style, but basically you just stick in the key, pop it, the battery pops up a little bit, comes right out here. And I love the fact that they actually labeled this here with their branding name, so that you don't have to worry if you have more than one bike which battery this is for. And then here we have our ratings. You can see it's a 12 amp hour, 48 volt, 576 watt hours on this. And yeah, it does a great job keeping this bike moving. There comes with a 2 amp charger. So with a 2 amp charger, you're looking at about 5 to 6 hours charge when it's pretty low. And that's pretty standard with that. It's not a fast charge of any sort, but that's how you put the battery back in. Stick it in, it goes in, the key just comes right out, and that is your battery operation. Super simple, very quick. Oh, and I also want to mention another thing that they did add was they put in locking grips. So if you're not familiar with it, some grips don't have these locking screws on it, which means that the grip sometimes will spin. And honestly, that's kind of an annoyance for a lot of riders when it does that, because you just don't want your grip spinning. This actually does have locking grips, which is just kind of an extra added nice benefit of a higher end feature than other bikes that don't have that. All right, so who is this bike going to be really perfect for? It's going to be anybody who's looking for an ultimate commuter, or anybody who just wants to go ahead and have a bike to ride around that'll get them far, picking up errands, anything that you actually need a bike for that can actually even carry stuff on it with the rack that's in the back here, with the power that you get. It's super fast. It really, 28 miles an hour with throttle only, kind of goes beyond the class 3 rating technically, but it's the kind of bike I really like. It allows you to fly around anywhere you want to go. Now, it is only 65 pounds. It's really quite light. And with a 400-pound max payload, you actually have an ability to really carry quite a bit if you need to. For those of you that might be a little heavier, this bike can actually handle you as well. So you have also the front suspension that makes it super comfortable. But what blows me away is that it's only $839. Most of the time I'd see a bike closer to the $1,000 to $1,100 range for all that it has here. Only other accessory I'd add is mirrors, which most bikes don't come with it anyway. And then of course the water bottle holder that you see there. This bike, with the versatility that it has, it's a great, really fun commuting bike. If you need something to go a little further as well, being that it can go up to 60 miles, I mean, that's quite a bit of range for the battery size. This is a great bike to think about. Again, Jasion EB5, if you're thinking about this bike, go to ebikeproducts.com/EB5. Again, that's ebikeproducts.com/EB5. That'll take you directly to the website, to this bike here. They have a couple of cool colors that you can also choose from. This is more of a grayish color, which I really like this color personally. But yeah, you have that ability to go ahead and pick a different color if you're interested in that. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave it below. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Jason, for sending this bike for review. I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna go have some fun with it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.